Aramco has long been the beating heart of Saudi Arabia's economy. But in less than 5 years' time, the kingdom hopes to reach its goal of building an economy that moves away from its traditional reliance on oil.
We think of ourselves as a technology company delivering energy, to be honest with you.
Technology has always been our competitive advantage.
The company has been evolving ever since its inception.
Aramco plays a significant role in Saudi's diversification agenda.
Aramco's journey started in 1933 when the Saudi government granted exploration rights to the Standard Oil Company of California. That created the Californian Arabian Standard Oil Company and eventually led to the discovery of oil in commercial quantities at Dammam Well Number 7. This marked a turning point in Aramco and Saudi Arabian history. In 1944, the company was renamed to Aramco, the Arabian American Oil Company, and later that became Saudi Aramco, reflecting its transition to a fully state-owned company by the late 80s.
Look at you can feel the crude here, huh?
So I'm looking at crude now. Nasser joined Aramco in 1982 as an oil engineer before working up the ranks to become CEO in 2015.
So this is the geology.
Yeah.
Where does the technology come into it?
Well, technology comes in the modeling, and some of the technology, you can see it here. So we digitize all of that, and we kept it here so they can look at it and learn while, having more data to see rather than only what you see in front of you here.
In 2019, the Saudi government sold down 1.5% of the company, raising $25.6 billion, which to date remains the largest IPO in history. Today, the Saudi government and sovereign wealth fund PIF jointly own around 98% of Aramco's shares. The oil giant accounts for approximately 60% of total Saudi government revenue. And the broader oil sector, with Aramco as the main player, makes up roughly 30 to 40% of the kingdom's GDP.
Relying on one sector only to drive the Saudi economy is not right. And this is where the vision is. They are helping other sectors, growing other sectors across the kingdom to grow. Oil and gas is still important. That's why you see the growth. You see, we are very pragmatic here in the kingdom. You're talking about 100 to 130 gigawatt of solar and wind. We believe in hydrogen. We'll be happy to produce hydrogen. Actually, we have one of the biggest projects in green hydrogen at NEO. And we will be more than happy to build more green hydrogen and blue hydrogens in the kingdom. And at the same time, we are in carbon capture and storage, but we are not neglecting hydrocarbon. We have a healthy oil production. We have a maximum sustained capacity of 12 million. We are growing our gas by more than 60% by 2030. So we are focusing on our conventional and growing it while decarbonizing at the same time. And we're building the new, which is solar, wind, hydrogen, and others.
The kingdom's crown jewel is central to the ambitions of Vision 2030, the government program aiming to diversify the economy away from hydrocarbon dependence, attract foreign investment, and modernize the Saudi Arabian society. Carla Slim is chief economist at Standard Chartered, covering regions including the Middle East.
In the past, the diversification strategy was investing petrodollars, oil revenues abroad, so that they would be uncorrelated to the price of oil. And for the last decade, Aramco's dividends to the budget have contributed indirectly to funding a lot of the diversification strategy in the domestic economy. So they remain a very important piece of the Saudi economy, of the revenues, in order to fund that government spending and that investment.
From creating Neom, a $500 billion futuristic city in the desert, to hosting the 2034 World Cup and building out a new major airport in Riyadh, Vision 2030 is well underway. The kingdom's transition is not without its challenges. OPEC Plus production cuts undermine a key source of revenue for the country despite diversification efforts. In the first quarter of 2025, Saudi Arabia recorded its largest budget deficit since 2021. That's impacted spending for some of the kingdom's largest investment projects. And Aramco has increasingly tapped into debt markets, which the company has put down to looking to lower its weighted cost of capital and optimizing the capital structure.
Our gearing today is around 5%, still one of the lowest gearing. It's almost half of the average compared to other energy industry players in the market. And we will continue to tap into that additional bond markets and on the future. But we have a low gearing ratio, which still, as you consider, very low compared to any players in the markets.
The size of the dividend, especially to its largest shareholder, the Saudi government, remains under scrutiny relative to free cash flow generated. Geopolitical tensions have also remained an undercurrent of concern since the 2019 attacks on Aramco's Abqaiq facility. Although the company resumed partial operations within 24 hours, the incident triggered a heightened focus on security. In response, Saudi Arabia has worked to ease regional tensions, including restoring diplomatic ties with Iran in 2023. Even as the company manages near-term pressures, Aramco is investing in areas that could define its long-term future.
I think gas is going to be a major growth area for the company. Today, and this is not known to many people, we are a large gas producer.
Ashraf Ghazawi is Aramco's EVP for Strategy and Corporate Development. He lays out the non-oil key strategic pillars of the business.
Our gas business is going to grow by 60% by 2030 compared to the 2021 levels. And you will see the company grow and continue to invest in a lot of low carbon or new energies. In particular, you will see Aramco investing now in renewables energy and in hydrogen and ammonia, as well as carbon capture and storage technology. Not to mention, digital and digitization is a big area for us. Further integration down the value chain is an important area for you to basically have an outlet for these vast hydrocarbon resources. Chemicals to us is a main building block for all modern economies and modern societies. You'll always need commodities and materials like plastics and polymers for any type of economic development going forward.
Like in most industries, one of its most ambitious bets to move the company forward is artificial intelligence.
AI, we see as one of the most important developments in this century in terms of technology. And so we have been quick to deploy AI in our operations and to apply it to our business.
Ahmed Al-Khawaitir leads tech and innovation at Aramco. Data from the company's facilities and operations end up here at its 4th Industrial Revolution Center. Last year, Aramco announced it was developing a large-scale industrial AI model called Aramco MetaBrain.
The MetaBrain is a 70 billion parameter model, and the reason we chose to build a proprietary large language model is because we have to use our own data. And it gives us a competitive advantage. So we have trained that model with all of our historical data, engineering reports, standards, and that model is now used to advise our engineers and operators and every single employee in the company. So we have deployed that model on 70,000 workstations across our facilities and in our offices. But not only is it providing advice, but it is also informing for better decisions. It is the base foundation for many of the applications we are doing in optimization, for example, and operating our facilities. So that's the way we are able to bring AI right to the field.
This is where you see a lot of the use cases delivering results for us. Technology realization in 2023 used to be $2 billion. This is how much we realized from technology. In 24, $4 billion. And we're looking at $2 to $4 billion per year in technology. AI is in everything embedded, not only in terms of allowing us to reduce our cost structure, more efficiency, it also helps us in reducing our carbon footprint. It's very important and able to see it introducing emissions, increasing productivity, and with that, the number of wells, water production, and with that, emissions and less bumping. In everything, it's embedded. And we are looking at the benefits of AI, integrating it in everything that we are doing.
Even with big strides in digital innovation, Aramco at its core remains an energy giant. As CEO of one of the largest hydrocarbon companies in the world, Nasser has been advocating for what he considers a more pragmatic approach to the energy transition.
Well, we have always said that we need a transition reset or a reality check in the transition to deliver on our ambition for a net zero. What we need is a pragmatic solutions to deliver on what we are all aiming for. almost 70 to 80% of the energy, global energy in 2050 will be in the global south, not in the global north. So one size fits all will not work. And anything that is driven heavily by incentive, that's not sustainable. The minute these incentives disappear, and they will disappear one day, that additional cost will be passed to consumer. And that's where we are seeing the increase in cost. What we need is something that, while sustainable, is affordable and secure. We have always talked about different mix of energy that will be required.
Aramco has a net zero 2050 target for its Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions and prides itself on having the lowest carbon intensity for upstream extraction compared to other energy companies. But this does not include Scope 3 emissions, which stem from end-user combustion of oil and fossil fuels and constitute the lion's share of emissions.
I have to say that not all crude oil is equal. We take a lot of pride in the fact that we are the lowest upstream carbon intensity producer. And has been for a while, and that's a result of decades of responsible and sustainable operations. It's important for us also to adhere to our commitments toward the net zero ambition and keeping an eye on what levers of decarbonization are available to us. We have been running flare minimization programs for decades. We have methane intensity that is the lowest in the market. All of these combined actually is where we position ourselves as the undisputed leader when it comes to carbon intensity and environmental metrics out there.
Aramco looks to redefine its role as Saudi Arabia reimagines its future.
We believe Saudi will remain a major oil producer in the global economy. We don't expect this to change, but we believe that the non-oil GDP expansion will happen in parallel to Saudi remaining a major commodity player on the global front, on the regional front, in its G20 capacity. We just expect that the non-oil development will happen in tandem, in parallel, and this will continue to have shifts to how Saudi spends domestically, globally, in the region as well, with its regional allies.
There is a lot of challenges ahead of us, especially with sustainability, with the transitions, with disruptive technologies. We need to be ready. How do we maintain and continue to maintain that leadership while also delivering the new energies that the world wants?